That's a great way of starting a video. A deep sigh. I'm just frustrated with my bike. I just had it repaired and now it broke down again. And it's gonna be really expensive to fix it this time. And now I have to walk. Hi, welcome to a video. This is actually a happy video. Well, anyway, I have an unboxing to do. I just thought that I would make an intro here because, well, I just picked this up just now after I returned my fucking bike. Anyway, and I'm thinking this is not really enough for one video. Well, maybe it is, but I don't know. I just thought that I would start with opening this up right now, and then we'll see what happens later. I think I'm just gonna write that in the description, what happens later, because I don't know. Maybe I'll end up unboxing something else in a few days if I get something, or maybe we'll see. But it's gonna be something more. So, but anyway, we're gonna put the camera on the tripod. We're gonna open this up, talk about this briefly, and then we'll see what happens in the next part of this video. So, okay, let's just start the video. Okay, so this is a long time coming, I think. Partly because I should have seen this movie. I should have seen these movies by now, and also because I've been meaning to get this very box set for a long time. It's just that it's been so expensive, and I've not found the right time to get. I don't know. I just never really. It just never really happened. But anyway, now it was not expensive because well, it was a little bit cheaper than normal, than the full price. But mainly I was able to use. Well, I'm a member of. This is from CDON, and I'm a member in their CDON Plus bonus thingy. Anyway, and with everything you buy, you get a 3% return or whatever. So I got that amount now after a year of being a very generous customer. And I was able to get this box for a lot cheaper because of that, and also I got a discount code in the mail very appropriately right before I was gonna order this, so that made it even cheaper. And I was able to use both for the same purchase, which I wasn't sure if that was gonna work, but it did. So this ended up being pretty cheap. And the other reason that before I haven't found the right time, like I said, well, now it's definitely the right time, because the 7th movie is coming out in less than a month. And I think maybe you know what this is when I say that, maybe. Oh yes, it is the Star Wars box set Complete Saga on Blu-ray. So this box set is very familiar to a lot of people because, when you watch, Blu-ray DVD collection overview videos on YouTube, you very often see this in people's collections. This is something that a lot of people have, and I have never seen them. Well, I have seen. I'm not sure how interested people are in listening to me talking about Star Wars. I know very little about Star Wars, and it's something that so many people have such a burning interest for and such a strong passion for, that I don't know, I don't really have anything to add to that discussion. But I can just share that I have not seen the original movies, but I have seen the newer ones, which is completely fucked up. But I was just a kid, when the prequel trilogy came out, so that was pretty much the perfect time for me to go see them. And I wasn't really a big fan of them, to be honest. They came out, I think they came out around the same time that the Lord of the Rings movies came out, approximately, didn't they? Well, anyway, and I think I was a bigger fan of Lord of the Rings, and I went and saw the third one with my friend, and I kind of remember thinking that I don't really feel like watching this movie, but oh well, it's not really my cup of tea. But of course, that is the prequel movies that I'm talking about. I have never seen the original ones, as far as I can recall. I do know that once I was at a friend's house, and I think they were playing one of the original movies, and I very vaguely remember a scene which, of course, my memory through the years might have distorted the scene completely, if you know what I mean. But I have this vague memory of some people running about in this Yeah, that's all I remember. I don't know. I just have this very, very vague image of a certain scene, which I think might be from one of the original 3 movies, if you know what I mean. But I don't know. I haven't seen the movies from beginning to end, which you know, I probably should have done by now. But now finally I have it. I managed to get this for, well, less than half the price. You know, half the full price, which was pretty good. And like I said, I'm planning on. Well, I didn't say that, but I did say that the 7th one is coming out. But I didn't say that I'm planning on going seeing it. But maybe you kind of got that. I don't know with who. I talked with a friend about doing that a while back, but I haven't really heard from him. So we'll see. Maybe I'll go with my sister or something. I think she wants to see it too. But whoever I'll end up going with, I am definitely gonna watch this in the movie theater unless something happens. Hopefully I'll watch this in the movie theater. But yeah, so I have a few weeks to watch these movies now and get more familiar with the series, which, like I said, is about time. Let's see, what else is there to say about this? I don't know. I think I've been debating whether I should watch the prequel trilogy first or not. I kind of wanna get the most out of the story, and so it would make sense to watch them in chronological order, because, you know, it would be easier to follow up with the 7th one if I've watched all the other ones in chronological order as they, you know, when they're supposed to take place and stuff. Although, I mean, I don't really like the idea of watching the prequel trilogy before, because, you know, when they made the original trilogy, obviously they hadn't that's the first movies that were released, and that's how a lot of people saw them for the first time. And I just kind of, I don't know, I just feel weird about watching the prequels first. It's like with The Hobbit, watching those before Lord of the Rings. To me, it doesn't make sense. Partly also because the technology has changed so much and the movies look so different. I don't know. I just don't know if it would work. And I'm thinking it might be the same with Star Wars. So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask people who know a lot more about Star Wars and who are fans of the series. What do you think I should do? I'm gonna leave it up to you. If anyone replies. What do you think I should do? Should I watch the prequel trilogy first, or should I watch the original trilogy first? Because I don't know. I don't think it would matter too much to me. Mainly, I just want to see the originals. You know, I kind of feel like if I'm gonna start with the prequel trilogy, then I would mainly do that to get to the good movies. You know, I'm guessing they're gonna be pretty good. But and yeah, sort of with that logic, if I watch the originals first, then I don't even know if I'm gonna even watch the prequels, because then I've watched all the good stuff, and, you know, I don't know. I feel like anyway, I've rambled on enough about movies that I know very little about. But oh, and of course, this box set has a bunch of behind the scenes stuff that I'm obviously looking forward to watching as well. But I doubt that I will have time to watch all of this before the 7th one comes out. But I guess I don't really need to do that. But I will do that eventually. And yeah, obviously George Lucas and whatever, they've changed some stuff with these releases here. But I don't know, I feel like for someone who has never seen the original trilogy, I don't know what they're supposed to be like. I mean, I don't know really. I mean, I know some of the changes that people have mentioned over the years and stuff, but I don't know. I haven't seen the original. I haven't seen the movies in the original form or in the original cut or whatever, so I don't know. I have nothing to compare it with, so I'm thinking it's okay that I watched this for the first time. But anyway, I digress. Alright, so that's that for this part of the video. And like I said, I don't know how this video is gonna continue, but whatever will happen is gonna happen right. Okay, 1 second, I have to add something. It's the same day I just filmed the unboxing now, and I thought of something. I asked you what you think I should do, which ones I should start with. But the thing is, which I was, I just didn't realize that when I said it. Obviously, this video will be uploaded a little bit later because I have something yet to film. So when you're watching this video, you are in the future and I'm in the past. You see? Does that make sense? No, you're in the present and I'm in the past. For me right now, you're in the future, but for you right now, I'm in the past and you're in the present. Anyway, the thing is that since I will not upload this video in a little while, most likely, chances are that I've already started watching either the first ones or the prequels. So that means that your input will be useless. Well, that means that well, you can still tell me what you think, which ones I should start with, but yeah, it's likely that I've already made a decision. But obviously I can't refilm that because it's an unboxing. So sorry about that. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much. But I just thought that I should add that. Alright, but now I promise we're gonna head over to the, for me at this point, yet to be determined future. We're gonna go to the next clip. Now let's skip the fucking snap of the fingers. I've done that to death by now. Think of something new. How's that for a transition? Okay, I feel stupid. I don't even remember. Is that what I did before? Will those two look the same? It doesn't matter. Okay, so I said before that I wasn't really sure what was going to follow, and what I'm going to talk about now might seem very unrelated because it is. But like I said, I didn't really have anything else planned, so I just kind of figured, well, something will come up that I'll show or talk about or whatever, as a second part of this video. And what I will talk about might not be very interesting to a lot of people, but I watched 2 movies for my film course right now, and normally I would just kind of put them aside and think about them a little bit, and I don't know, but I had a lot of things to say, and I just felt like getting them out, and I thought that, okay, well, I could just use this video that I have going on here, the second part pending. I could just use that part or whatever, dedicate that part towards talking about a couple movies here. So, it's not it's very different kinds of movies from Star Wars, and it's a weird transition here, but sometimes that's just how it is. I don't really have a set plan of what I'm gonna film, so I end up including different things, and this time, well, anyway, you can choose for yourself, obviously, if you want to keep watching, but I can update you on Star Wars. It's right here. I can mention that I actually have watched episode 4, A New Hope. And I've only gotten that far yet. I've only watched that one. I filmed the last clip on Friday, and it's Tuesday today. But I will of course finish the rest of them as well before the 7th one comes out. But so yeah, obviously I ended up choosing to start from the beginning, so to speak. And I loved it. It was great. Really, it was a really good movie. I mean, it's fucking Star Wars. What can I say? Maybe I'll talk more about it later when I've seen them all. I'm probably gonna want to do that, but I'm not sure if there's really any interest in hearing me talking about Star Wars, because I don't know. But we'll see if I'll do it. If I'll do that later on. But now to this part of the video. So well, this video will be uploaded after my Christmas video part 5, I think it is. It must be. So if you saw that, then you might recognize this. Actually, after this, I'm about to film another clip for that video. So I'm taking a break with that video to film something for a different video, which is a little bit confusing, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, so you might recognize these titles, but I just thought that I have too much to say about them to include that in the Christmas video. It's just a little bit too off topic, I feel. But anyway, so I was we were supposed to watch these in film, in class, whatever. But if we can get our hands on them privately, then that's fine. And I just went there and I picked them up, which you saw in the Christmas video. Anyway, oh sorry, nudity, oh well, who cares. Right,
So I went ahead and you know, brought them with me home. These two were available on YouTube with English subtitles. This one was available on YouTube without English subtitles. So this is the main one that I needed to get. I have watched these two right now. This one I will save, although I'm gonna have to, well, say I'm gonna have to get, you know, return these tomorrow, so I'm gonna have to watch that one on YouTube after all. But I just decided to be happy with these two for tonight. But these two, well, I can mention the movies. The Cranes Are Flying, Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors, and this one is called Red Psalm, I think. These two are Russian. This one is, I think, Hungarian. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Hungarian because they talked about Hungary and the Hungarian people, etc. I'm not sure. It must be Hungarian. I'm pretty sure. And right now in school we are on the third course, or the third part of the course. We're basically talking about Eastern European cinema. Well, we're talking about film history in general, of course, but in right now we have been talking about, reading about Eastern European cinema and Soviet cinema. And so, yeah, these are three of those that we're watching. And like I said, I think my light is gonna go out eventually because it keeps flickering, whatever. But yeah, so these two, I watched these right now, and I felt like talking about them. Wow, I haven't even started talking about them, and this is like a 5-minute clip. I'm sorry. Anyway, okay, first of all, Shadow of Forgotten Ancestors. This one is by Sergei Parajanov. Okay, it's by that guy. You might not have heard of him. He was a Russian filmmaker who was very well. He made. I'm not gonna go through the historical whatever. I don't really know well enough. I mean, I obviously read about it now, but who cares? Anyway, the movie. I mean, this one was really, really great, actually. The movie is about. It's about a man. I don't really know when this takes place. It's not really clear. Maybe they refer to certain historical things, which, if you know about them, makes it kind of, maybe they hint at when the movie is supposed to take place. But I don't know for sure. But I find that Russian movies, they have a certain tendency of not just making, it doesn't just when you watch a lot of those movies, I haven't seen a lot, but well, when you watch some of them, or a lot of the ones that I've seen, anyway, it doesn't just feel like you're in a different era, or I mean area, in a different geographical place, but it feels like you're taken to a different time, even if it's a contemporary movie or somewhat contemporary. I feel like it still kind of feels like you're taken to a completely different time and place, which is really cool, and this one reminds me a little bit of Andrei Rublev, and I love that movie for that very reason, largely, or well, yeah, partly. And this is about lost love. It's about a man who falls in love with a woman or a girl as a kid. They grow up, and she dies, and he can't forget about her. Eventually, he ends up marrying someone else, and yeah, but it's obvious in the end that he can't forget about her, and that's sort of what it's about. But I don't really care about the plot, honestly, because this movie, it was so revolutionary in terms of cinematography and what you can do with the camera, as well as the visuals too, and just generally a very poetic visual language in this movie. But I mean, I'll show you some. I'm not sure when. I haven't filmed them yet, but I'll show you some clips from these two movies throughout as I'm talking, I suppose. But some of these clips, some of the scenes, some of the shots in this movie are just mind-blowing. I don't think. I mean, I wasn't. This is from 1964, and obviously I was not alive then. But I think the world had not really seen stuff like this before. I don't know if you could do stuff like this before. It feels like the cameraman, he's running around with the camera, he's throwing it back and forth. He feels like it weighs 10 pounds because the cinematography and the movement of everything, it's so dynamic and there's just a constant movement and long takes and so many scenes that I could show you and cite as examples of fantastic cinematography. Obviously, I loved it. It doesn't, for the most part, it maybe dragged a little bit towards the end, but for the most part, it did not feel like I was watching, like I was studying. It felt like I was just watching a great movie. I mean, this has been on my Amazon wish list for a few years actually, so I would have bought it anyway. Eventually. But just checking the battery. Wow, 9 minutes and I haven't even started with the second one. Okay, well. Hope you're enjoying it. Anyway, and some of the shots that you've probably seen by now. Wow. They're just, it's just stunning. It does kind of, I feel like in the end it could have been a little bit more emotionally impactful, because it's about people after all, and someone's love for someone who died, and with a plot like that you kind of feel like maybe it should be more personal, because it doesn't feel too personal. There are large, long parts of the movie where nobody's really talking at all. This character, including this is the guy who loses his love, and then has to deal with that, I suppose. He doesn't talk a lot in the movie, and you don't really get to know him. But I guess that serves a purpose in a way, because he's grieving. After she dies, the movie starts to change to black and white, for a while anyway, which is very obvious sort of sign that he, whatever, symbolically he stops seeing the world in colors. And never mind. But yeah, and then the colors come back after that. But I just feel like they put a lot of effort into the cinematography and the visual look of the movie, which is the reason why I loved it. So I wouldn't have wanted them to sacrifice any of that. But maybe the movie could have been half an hour longer, and for that half hour throughout the movie, maybe focus more on the humanity of it all. I mean, of the just the personal story, if you know what I mean. I mean, maybe you could argue that it does that, but to me, it just didn't have that impact on me, which I felt like the movie ultimately could have had, if it allowed that to go on for a little bit longer. But no, like I said, most of the movie definitely focuses on the cinematography, the visual look of the movie, the colors. There are even some close-ups of, if you didn't know what was being filmed, which you don't really do, you don't really actually, well, you kind of do, but they're almost abstract images, So colors is pretty important too, and like I said, it switches to black and white too, so obviously colors and the absence of colors. I liked it though. I thought it was great. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to cinematography, I gotta say, and so I obviously respond to a lot of these scenes. Yeah, recommended. Obviously, I'm obviously pretty euphoric here. I really liked it, and like I said, it didn't feel like I was studying when I watched it. I did not really expect to talk that long before getting to the second movie, but I'm sure I forgot some things. But I highly recommend it. Okay, let's move on to the Red Psalm. This is a French DVD, but there are English subtitles, really poorly translated English subtitles. There are a lot of spelling errors and some grammatical errors, and some, they missed adding a space between two words, so they were sort of jumbled together, and sometimes the words sort of went outside of the screen, so you couldn't even read it. And sometimes there are 3 layers of text, and they kind of show it very briefly, and you don't have any time to read it. So because of that, some details are lost in the mix. And actually, in the beginning, I was a little bit confused because, by the way, yeah, I said that this was a Hungarian movie, I think, from 1972. And actually, in the beginning, I was a little bit confused as to what was actually happening because of the subtitling, like I said, and just a very enigmatic way of presenting the plot in terms of dialogue. anyway, but that changed later on. It's actually a pretty simple story about. I don't really know exactly. I've read about it yesterday, but I read about dozens of countries over the past 2 days. So honestly, I don't really remember what happened in Hungary exactly at this time. But based on the movie, I'm guessing there was some suppression going on in this movie. I mean, if it wasn't, then it feels very clear that it is that there was suppression going on from watching the movie, because it's called Red. Did I say Red Hymn or Red Psalm? It's called Red Psalm in English. Red Hymn is actually the Swedish translation. But anyway, so it clearly takes a stance. It's sort of pleading for the proletariat or whatever, for the workers. I mean, Red Psalm. Okay, look at the ending here, for example. I actually paused it just to show this. I mean, look at this. If that's not obvious, then I don't know what is. And then it ends. Sorry, spoiler, but who cares? Nobody's gonna watch this movie. Well, maybe, who knows. But yeah, so that's how the movie ends, and so it's clear. Sorry for switching the camera around, but I just need to make sure that the battery is not running out. So it clearly sort of takes a very, very strong stance for the working class or whatever. I'm guessing the director of this, Miklos Janko, I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm guessing he wasn't happy with the situation in the country, and like I said, I don't know what the situation was. Just feels very obvious from watching the movie that there was some suppression and a lot of censorship, and there generally was a lot of censorship throughout this time in those countries. I've learned, and in a lot of countries, but especially in these countries, it seems, from what we've read so far, and from what I've learned so far. And I mean, you talk about for example, during the Nazi, during Nazi Germany that time, there were. The only movies that were produced by the state, were propaganda movies, pretty much exclusively. So, and obviously you talk about propaganda film as something with a very negative connotation. And I'm not going to call this a propaganda film, but it's really pleading for the workers or for a change, and really showing the sort of plight or whatever of the workers and of the less fortunate. They sing several songs which goes like, "We are the workers, we have no freedom." It's just very in your face, and it just feels very, very obvious what he was trying to say or what political side he was on. I don't think you can doubt that, despite, like I said, not really remembering what the situation was in the country. But yeah. So that's the thematic and political part of it all. Now let's get to the aesthetic and cinematography. Like I said with Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors, I am a big fan of cinematography, of long takes, of creative camera movements and stuff like that. This movie, you'd think that I would like this a lot more, because it definitely, it has, notice the cinematography. There are long takes. This is probably an appropriate time to show you a somewhat, I guess, an extensive scene from whatever part of the movie. And this is what you see throughout a lot of the movie. The camera sort of circles and pans and tracks, and just shows people as they very theatrically and unnaturally go about what seems like rituals or whatever, or mostly from the workers' point of view. And I'm not really a fan of how. It doesn't. I don't feel like it has great cinematography. I feel like it has great choreography, because the camera, it doesn't do anything unexpected. It just moves at a slow to a moderate pace, and it doesn't feel like anything that you would have to be. I shouldn't say that. Well, it doesn't feel. I was gonna say it doesn't feel like you have to be a trained cinematographer to shoot this movie. It just feels like you need to know what to point the camera at. But I'm being probably very ignorant when I say that, but the main portion of the main thing that makes the movie stand out, I would argue it's not the cinematography, but it's the choreography, because obviously you can't hide anything when you're showing things in one take. I mean, there are many 5-minute takes in this movie, and if something goes wrong after 4 minutes, you have to do it again. So you need to plan meticulously what's gonna happen and what everyone will do, and especially with a huge cast like this, it takes a lot of preparation. So it takes a lot of skill, but it just doesn't do anything for me, because it comes across as so artificial and so unnatural and so staged, and it feels like everything the actors are able to focus on is what the director has told them to do, what spot they're supposed to be at, and it feels like they're just pawns in a big game, which maybe is what the director wanted. I don't know. I'm sure he knows what he wants with the way he makes movies, but it doesn't feel, I don't know, they just, there's no personality. They're just people. They're just it's just a mass of moving human beings. I don't know. It just, I don't know. Wow, my light is really flickering. What was I saying? Well, it's not very dynamic, despite the camera really moving about a lot. It's never static, really. It's just the whole movie takes place on this plane or this field or whatever. The whole movie, literally. It's not really clear how much time elapses or whatever, but I'm guessing it's not very long. And it's just so theatrical, so stiff, so stale, whatever. And it just, I don't know. I feel like they sacrifice a lot because of the need to do long takes. But I'm sure the director knew exactly what he was doing. Like I said, it just doesn't do much for me. The movie did grow on me as it went by. I was mostly pretty bored, I gotta say, but there were a lot of cool takes. I'll show you some of them right now. Overall, the movie didn't do anything for me, and it was too propagandistic, I guess, and in your face, and just too boring, honestly. Despite some cool shots, everything takes place on this plane, and yeah, I don't know. Alright, that's a long talk about 2 Eastern European movies. I hope you got something out of this if you decided to watch this. I just had too much to say about this not to let it out, not to share it. So yeah, this apparently is gonna be the main portion of the video, because this turned out like 20 minutes, didn't it? And the Star Wars part, how much was that? 10 minutes, 15 maybe. Anyway, so yeah, I can understand if a lot of people stopped watching after the Star Wars unboxing, but if you stuck around, thank you. I just needed to share some of my thoughts. Probably didn't express myself too clearly when it came to some things, especially with this last movie. But I didn't think it was horrible, but a lot of it was very dreadful, and most of it I didn't like too much. So I wouldn't recommend it. But I do respect the director for what he did, because he obviously has a very, very distinct style. Our teacher seems to like this director, because he showed another clip from another movie on the first part of the course, where he was demonstrating cinematography, long takes, and that scene looked exactly like this movie, no difference. I mean, pretty much anyway. The thematic part was probably different, but the cinematography and the relying heavily on choreography and planning, before actually shooting the thing, was very much the same. And that other movie also filmed on a big field or whatever, and I just feel like it doesn't do anything for me. But I respect very much the director for having his own style, and that coming across from watching his movies. there's obviously something called the Auteur trilogy. Trilogy, what the fuck? Auteur theory. I don't know if you pronounce it Auteur. I can't pronounce it, but you know, the theory of someone writing his movies through visuals, someone having so strong an influence on his own movies that you can clearly tell that this is a movie by that director, you know. Anyway, I haven't talked this much in weeks. Anyway, okay, that's it. Obviously, I just needed to talk about these movies a little bit, and I did. I really did. Okay. Yeah, probably missed a couple things about this last movie too, but there were a lot of things that I wanted to talk about, so. Alright. Have you seen these movies? What do you think about them? Do they sound interesting? I don't know. Okay. I would recommend the first one, but not the second one. That's what I'm gonna leave you with. And, yeah, Star Wars. It was great. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna get back to talking about that, I think, whenever I've finished watching the series. Alright.